I'm a little dwarf, hello.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, Season 3. Episode 3.
Yes. What is up, Connor? How are you?
Doing well, tired. So if you guys are new around here, welcome. Highly recommend checking out our 2 episodes ago, Season 3. Thumbnail literally says start here, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
And it's just an overview of who we are, what we do, what we'd like to talk about. And big thing we discussed in that episode was that we are getting back into Dungeons and Dragons. It's been a hot minute.
What?
We've talked about it a good amount of times actually on the pod. I even did a audio only for the OG listeners, an audio only episode where we did a one shot where one of our good friends, Tim, came on.
Yep.
He was kind enough to DM the one shot. He's been on to talk about just DMing overall. We've actually had multiple DMs because we had a DM for one of my games give his POV. So it was really nice to have Tim's POV for how he DMs.
Yep.
Eric's when he came on to talk about it. We also had Eric be part of that one shot, which was a great time. And just people get busy, things happen, and D&D falls to the wayside.
R.I.P.
Then we focused on Matt's tabletop RPG for Power Rangers.
Yep.
Which is still
sessions.
technically going on.
I'm hoping. I'm waiting for people to get back to me because I would love to just at least have 2 more sessions just to wrap it all up.
Some stuff up, yeah.
Like we're on session 39. Like a character just came back who was dead for 19 sessions. Like things were finally wrapping up. The big bad got introduced. And then we just stopped.
Yeah, that's tabletop RPG, baby. So yeah, we this came up. Me and my friends have started. I guess, would you consider when you do something twice that starts becoming a tradition or I don't want to say ritual, but a tradition maybe? Like, how many times does you have to repeat something for it to become a tradition?
I would say like 3 or 4 times personally.
Okay, so we're working towards a tradition.
Yes.
Which is going to a Buffalo Sabres Habs game once a year. So this is our second time doing it. And someone was like, I would really like to play D&D again. And we're like, we can try and make that happen. Our one friend's too busy to DM. And then I said foolishly that I would DM.
Famous last words.
Yeah. So then I reached out to the people from the old game and Matt, people that I thought might be interested in playing. And we've gathered up 6 people.
Wild.
To play Dungeons and Dragons. And the fun part about it is, one, it's a game that both Matt and I will be involved in.
Yep.
So we will actually be updating the podcast every week. Well, every other week.
Yeah.
Because I think we will be playing every other week for a bit just to see
how
I'm not overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because I've seen how overwhelmed Matt gets with Power Rangers sometimes.
Well, you've DM'd a one shot before, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
But never a campaign, which is much different.
Yes.
And obviously, I'm crazy, so instead of being like, yeah, I'll just use a module and we'll just work through a fun module.
Are pussies.
No,
homebrew it, baby.
I was like, I'll create my own world like a psychopath. So that's that's where we're at. But the big fun thing I think will be we are going to be segmenting the podcast out. This is something we're going to be trying for season 3, which is we're going to be doing our main topic, potentially a secondary topic depending on how short the first topic is. Then we'll be jumping into the nerdy news. We'll be jumping into what we are now calling the Misfit Roundtable, which is going to be replacing episodes of what you're doing, what you're reading, what you're watching. And we're just going to integrate a much smaller, condensed version of that into every episode, every other episode when we have updates. That way, there's something for kind of everyone. And in this roundtable will be a D&D campaign update. Probably a lot of it will be from Matt's POV.
Yep.
And how Matt's enjoying it. Because this is Matt's first campaign as
this is my first time playing proper Dungeons and Dragons. I've played Dungeons and Dragons twice. A one shot for the podcast, which characters were pre-made and everything was basically there for us. And then a bachelor party, which everything was pre-made and it was meant to be so the bachelor obviously won. the final hit and everything. It was obviously focused around him. So this is my first time properly creating my own character from scratch with no real guidance, in the sense that like there's nothing pre-made for my character.
Like you had to come up with most of it.
Yeah.
So we'll be going through the campaign updates, things that I will mention that obviously won't be spoilery for Matt and the other players who watch the podcast. So that we'll be giving those updates when we can. We'll also be doing all of our what are we been reading and our recommendations through that through the Misfit Roundtable as well. What anime we watching, what we've been watching, our writing updates.
Yep.
And then we'll be ending it off with what we used to end off the podcast, which was our little question corner.
Yep.
This time we'll be doing fan questions if we have them. We do have a Discord. The link will be down in the description below, where you guys can ask your questions in the question corner, and we will obviously bring them up here in the podcast. And we actually will always have a list of questions because Matt and I are creating our own chaotic list of questions, which we'll be using a wheel to decide what questions we ask, and we'll see how long we talk about that topic, and depending on how long, depends on how many questions we'll have. But yeah, that's the plan of kind of how we're going to break down the podcast. And we'll see how that goes. Certain episodes like last week's episode, which was a anime seasonal preview. Obviously, that doesn't fit into the format. That's more of just
A one-off.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
And move on. But for more topic-related one, we'll be going on this format. So let us know how you like it. If it makes more sense, we'll be doing our best to also timestamp those segments in case you're only here to follow the Dungeons and Dragons, which much appreciated. We're happy to have you here.
Yep.
Or if you want to see some of what the news we've seen that interests us, if that's what you want to see, then that'll be there. But yeah, without further ado, Dungeons and Dragons.
Pew, 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 pew.
So I guess we can just bounce off maybe some questions for each other.
Yeah.
Based on, because we're coming from in this world, we're coming from two different sides. The person who knows everything and the person who knows nothing.
But who's who in this
And I'm not saying everything as in I know everything there is to know about Dungeons and Dragons, but know everything in terms of the world lore.
Yeah.
First of all, what was it like thinking of a character? So you're obviously writing a book.
Yep.
So I don't know about you, but in my experience in our writing so far, character names, very difficult.
Yes.
But the overall character personality comes pretty quickly for me.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts when you were picking like a race, when you were picking what you wanted your character to kind of do?
Well, one, obviously with the world that you've created, I straight up asked you, I was like, what are some least favorite races? And you gave me a few and I was like, cool. My first thought was I'm picking one of these ones. And then obviously I picked dwarf. And I was like, okay, what would be a fun dwarf? I was like, what do we usually see? I was like, okay, it'd be cool to see him more of like a bard, kind of introverted, but like super excited style character. And obviously in the novella I'm writing, it's very fantasy heavy. And I actually don't have any dwarfs in my fantasy book. So I was like,
an opportunity to do something different.
Yeah, I was like, this is how we'll get my dwarf fix.
Okay, sure.
Weird sentence. Yeah, and then I was looking through it and I was like, I don't want to be a meathead, because I wanted to play something, I guess, similar to my personality type in a way, like play it safe a little bit for my first proper D&D.
Yeah, like you're a charismatic person.
Love history, love culture.
Maybe too nice for your own good sometimes.
Too nice for my own good a lot of the time. So I was like, you know what? I can make that into a D&D character. And then coming up with the name was obviously hard, so I actually went through a bunch of different D&D like name generators, and I picked syllables of different names and combined them together.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's how you came up with it.
Yeah, and so instead of taking just like, oh, I like this first name here and the last name here, I was like, oh, I'll take this syllable here, this syllable here. Just it also felt just a little bit more original too, instead of like, oh, here's a full AI made name.
Yeah. I did use some AI in some of the naming, mostly just for coming up with town names.
Yeah.
Names for some NPCs and stuff, because I don't know what it is, but naming things is very difficult for me. Like, that's definitely my hardest. When I'm doing the writing for our novella, I have so many it's like this name is a filler name.
Yeah.
It's like Ted. That character is not Ted. I need to figure out who Ted is, but I know who Ted is looks wise. I know who Ted is personality wise. I know what he's supposed to do in my story. I just don't know what to call Ted.
See, I have most of the supporting character names done, but not the main character. Because I want the main character to have like a good, solid name.
So names are tough. So I've been using AI for a lot of the naming stuff. And I make sure that I do like similar. It's almost similar to a name generator. I'm like, give me a list of names that work for Dragonborns. And then I just pick what I like.
Exactly.
But yeah. So, okay. That's very interesting with the dwarf. Obviously, you would know this, but the audience won't know. It's a made-up continent called Eurasia. And this continent basically is a Dragonborn majority population. And these Dragonborn within the lore that I have written are slightly different than the Dragonborn that are known to just straight up D&D.
Yep.
Just slight differences. Basically, this land was originally a land of dragons. There was a big, massive fight between some ancient, almost god entity level dragons that ended up in a draconic echo between the two of them. One sacrificing himself to defeat the evil dragon. And that has created a lot of magical remnants within the land.
Mm-hmm.
And almost like these Dragonborn have been born on this planet or on this continent without anyone else coming over to it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the element of why they're so prevalent in this area. And Matt decided to be a character that was off continent. So what was your thinking of being just not initially in it? Was that just because you didn't want to be felt like you pigeonholed as a Dragonborn, or you just wanted to see how?
Yeah, I felt a little bit pigeonholed as Dragonborn, especially where I was like, okay, there's 6 of us playing. Probably at least half of us are going to want to be Dragonborn. So I was like, I don't mind being something else. And then I just, as someone who enjoys culture and history, I wanted to play a character that didn't know everything about.
Yeah, you wanted to kind of be the guy asking questions everywhere you're going.
Almost be annoying of like, cool, what's this? Because then also from like from a storytelling point of view, being like a DM for Power Rangers, I loved when my characters asked questions about the culture or the history that I wrote.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of thing, right? So for me, it gives me that opportunity to be like, oh, like not to push your limits as a DM.
Oh, yeah.
But to be like, oh, like, do you know about this history? Like, what did you do here kind of thing? And like, so I'm excited for that aspect of it. But I'm also just excited to play in general, but also, yeah, just to play more as a dwarf than a Dragonborn.
As of this recording, we haven't played yet.
No.
Well, actually, as of recording for us, we haven't played yet. But as of the release, you would have played
yesterday.
You would have played exactly one mini session.
Yes.
The plan being we have a couple groups that are already together, and the plan was to do kind of like these I'm calling them 0.5 sessions, because we're doing a session 0, and the session 0 will be covering more player expectations, DM expectations, some rules that I'm going to be putting in place, some homebrew rules, quality of life changes to regular D&D rules that me and some of the other players have already played with and are used to. So I'm just making sure everyone's on the same page and from that standpoint. And just some interesting rules we put in place. I already mentioned some of them to everyone, which is we will still be playing if one person's missing. If 2 people are missing, we'll be canceling that session. And everyone is responsible for one other person's character in combat. If that person is not there, then everyone has their person, basically.
Yeah.
And that was just to keep things a little bit more organized so it's not as messy. And from the RPing standpoint, I will only be RPing a player's character if, based on their backstory, I need to. If it's a necessity within the plot that's going on. Mm-hmm. Other than that, they're just going to be a background character. And so basically rules like that will be established in session 0. So I don't expect session 0 to be that long, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And then I have these 0.5 sessions, which Matt, as of the release date, would have done yesterday. And that's basically to just help get the players already playing their character a bit, like seeing things, how they want to decide, are they going to RP their character in voice? Are they going to how they want to just RP in general? How they want their character to kind of handle situations.
Yeah.
And just to get it kind of a little almost tutorial of maybe what some of their stats are like for rolling, and maybe just like simple spells, stuff like that. And a big one for Matt is Matt's character is off continent, so the 0.5 will be covering how his character gets to the continent.
Yes.
And similarly, I'll be doing a session with a couple others that are in a group on how they end up and getting to where session 1 will be held in the starting spot.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to those. As far as my preparation goes for session 1, I guess I would say the general gist done. I mostly need to prepare a couple monologues, I guess, if you will. A big one being the what you see monologue when you come in.
Right.
Is a big thing I want prepared for everyone. To just kind of set the tone in the scene of where they are. And I just have a couple things to figure out. Mostly the biggest thing that I've been struggling with for session 1, because I've done a lot of the world development.
Yeah.
Mostly within closer to where you guys are starting, because I've created a lot of pretty large cities. I just haven't developed overall what they are like, because if we're not there yet, I basically, after I built one big city, I was like, I ain't doing this for all of them until that city needs to be made.
Be there, yeah.
But I have created a couple big plot devices already. And thankfully, as high procrastination was done through some of my players, everyone has a pretty malleable backstory in some way, which has worked out well for me to mold a lot of what I've created into people's backstories, which has been really great. So much appreciated to the players for that, for not having such concrete rules or people within their backstory that need to be a certain way.
Yeah.
It's always nice when they're like, yeah, this is my friend, named character, named race, but like maybe you give a couple examples of what you guys did as kids. But other than that, they're like, if you want to use them, use them. If you don't want to use them, don't use them. And it just gives a lot more freedom for me to help him either have that character be involved in something or have them introduced. My biggest worry for stuff like that, though, is will players remember some of those?
Who's going to be the designated note taker?
Well, and it's like, will people remember if you mention certain characters by just name? Yeah. Are they going to remember that that's a character in their backstory? That's the one thing I'm nervous about. We'll see how that goes.
I think the fun for me is that, like, because like my character just loves to talk. So I think that will be fun to be like, oh, who are you talking about? Or just like,
which is good. I think it's always good to have someone in the party that maybe tries to get things out of other characters.
Yeah.
Not that everyone has to reveal their backstory right away, but at least by having a curious character, we'll see how things progress or allow elements of RPing, whether it's in a good or a negative way, for being nosy. Have you decided kind of how you're going to play? Are you going to be RPing a voice? Are you going to be just my character does this?
So you've played D&D with most of these players, if not all of them.
Yeah, I would say most of them do not RP. Not RP in the sense of like Critical Role, where you're like people are like,
yeah, that's why I figured I probably shouldn't go full RP, but
for like at least when I was a player character, I would say most of the time I'll be like, my character would react like this or do something like this. Only in certain cases where it would make sense would I like jump in and be like, Dr. Vance says, and then I would do it maybe in like a more posh voice for the character that was a little bit more like that.
I probably won't go full RP then if that's not what the group's used to.
Yeah, there's definitely, well, we'll see, because maybe some people are more likely to do it. Eric was pretty good for DMing, for trying to try at least different voices or make some different.
I changed my voice up a bunch when I was DMing for Power Rangers, so
we'll see how it goes. I mean, there's no expectations. It's all about having fun, which is the biggest thing.
I could do like a little bit in between where I'm like, oh, my character goes, hello, everyone, like kind of thing. Not that that's the voice I'd use, but
I mean, you could.
Yeah. I'm a little dwarf, hello.
We'll be playing through D&D Beyond online.
Yep.
Is, I guess, a big factor that we haven't mentioned. D&D and Beyond, pretty well everyone other than Matt really has already used it. So it just seemed the easiest. And I'm sure Matt, from using it, can see that it's a relatively easy tool to
pretty straightforward overall.
From a map standpoint for me, that's one of the big concerns I have is the combat situations. Obviously, as someone who has run a game before. You can't always decide where exactly your characters are going to do. You don't know maybe if they set someone off that you didn't expect to be set off, and then all of a sudden a fight's breaking out and you don't have that map prepared. But I have figured out my solution, which is after doing some research, I noticed that the one actress who runs Dungeons and Dragons, she was in True Blood.
Okay. Yep.
The vampire HBO.
Yep.
Show. She the way she handles it is she has just grid paper and then she draws the.
You just add it on, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a blank grid, online grid thing to use to draw it quickly if that shows up.
Fair.
That's kind of one thing I was nervous about, but we'll see. It's my first time running a campaign, like I mentioned, but it's my first time having to create the how many people are going to be there to fight, what level these monsters and creatures should be at. I feel like that's going to be the biggest learning for me, is just balancing that so it feels like it was maybe challenging but not crazy. Like I don't want to just be making too hard and I'm just like basically putting you guys on the verge of being wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want it to be too easy. But I feel like it's probably going to start off on the easier, and I'm going to kind of rework it and be like, okay, I need to add more, higher level, or maybe there's a healer that needs to be focused, and I'll kind of try and take them out because the people maybe recognize it. We'll see how I end up doing it. You'll be able to update everyone when we have these talks about how things are going. But you have any other questions for me, Matt?
Not that I can think of. I think, if anything, I'd just say, like, for me personally, bear with me, because, again, I can tell you all about the Power Ranger RPG system and the Marvel RPG system, but this is my first time fully using the D&D, like, 5th edition.
It's also the
5e.
First time in a long while for a lot of the players.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of just learning on the go, and a lot of people are also playing new races, new characters in general, classes they're not used to. And unless you're playing the same class over and over again, you're always kind of learning and have to figure it out as you go. Big thing is reading. Make sure to read your abilities, your features, etc. Because there's a lot of hidden stuff that you might forget about.
Yep.
Make sure to keep your eye on what you can do during in a long rest, or what gets off cooldown in short rest, stuff like that. And read all the spells.
Yes.
Figure out what spells are good to have always prepared. Which ones you maybe are like, are we going to be potentially fighting, or because we're actually on a journey to fight someone?
Yeah.
Maybe I have
prepare yourself
stuff more for combat ready for those scenarios.
Yeah.
Or if we're in a city and less likely to fight, maybe I should have different things prepared. Just like that kind of stuff, I think is things you'll get used to as long as you're reading your spells and kind of getting used to them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I'll be learning too. I already told Eric, I was like, hey, if you notice that certain rules got accidentally missed, just bring it up and we'll backtrack.
Figure it out.
We have no problem backtracking, figuring things out. Obviously, it's very loose, but we also still want to follow the rules. And the problem is, I'm not going to read cover to cover the handbook for a DM. I've read a good amount of it, of the important stuff. I've watched YouTube videos covering a lot of stuff you need to know. I've also flagged those in. Matt's seen my my books, all my modules that I have. Matt was kind enough to also lend the monster manual.
Yep.
So I have a lot of things bookmarked.
Yes, which is good.
To reference, but it's a learning for all of us. Yep. So we'll see how it goes that way. Shall we jump into the nerdy news?
Yes, the nerdy news. Lots of random nerdy news from all different types of fandoms. We got, obviously, by the time this episode's out, One Piece, the live action season 2 will already be out, which I'm excited for Chopper. Daredevil season 2 should be starting around the time this episode comes out. Recently, we got Leaf Green and Fire Red out on the Switch.
Rip off.
The Pokapia, the Animal Crossing Pokemon game, came out.
A lot of positive reviews. People have really been liking it.
Highest rated Pokemon
game. We both
game.
don't have a Switch 2, though. So
cannot afford a $650 console right now, plus $100, $10, $110, however money the game.
Expensive game.
Expensive game. Can't do it. Not yet. We'll finish up on the Pokemon news here. On Pokemon Day on February 27th, we got the Gen 10 starters. We got Brat, Pom-Pom, and Gekwa.
What'd you think of them?
The more I researched about them, the more I enjoyed them. Because this sounds weird. I don't like the designs overall, They're very Neopetty. But I was reading a couple things and watching a couple of videos. People theorize that they're based around Chinese related things.
Okay.
So Brat is a sumo wrestler. Pom Bomb is
sumo Chinese.
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, sumo wrestling?
I thought it was Japanese.
I thought it was Chinese.
I have no idea.
Now we're racists.
I just assumed it was Japanese because it's always referencing Japanese anime and culture all the time.
Right. And then
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Pom Bomb is a he has like the little tip on the tail or the head or whatever, so people are thinking that it's a cartographer, so like a thing. And then Gekwa has another thing that looks like Chinese, like ancient Chinese writing.
Okay, yeah, sumo originated in Japan.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying it might be. No. It might also be big in China. I'm just saying.
Basically, the 3 starters, people are theorizing that's going to be around Asian culture, which will be really cool. Again, I'm the firm believer that as long as Pom Bomb is not a firefighting bipedal starter, we're A-okay.
You are aware that this is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, right?
I'm fully aware that I have to wait a year to get it and somehow drop money on a Switch 2 if I can justify it in my head.
We'll see. I feel like it's unlikely for me at the moment.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of Pokemon news. Bigger news. Oda made the One Piece reel, but they took it back and didn't leave it.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I saw the thing of him writing down what the One Piece is. They make the whole little short film thing of teaser of it getting dropped into the ocean. Apparently, they didn't leave it there.
Smart.
Because people were, I saw a whole bunch of YouTubers were like, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. Which is insane.
It's both funny, but also sad because it would have been kind of cool if the One Piece was actually a treasure for actually someone to find in our real world. But they did remove it.
Yes.
We also got the Lanterns teaser.
Did you watch that?
You didn't like it?
Trash.
You didn't like it?
No.
What were your grievances with this, Matthew?
First off, disregards that Guy Gardner exists. We're gonna put that plain and simple.
I saw that some people were referencing that perhaps it's because Hal just does not like him at all, and it's just like he doesn't exist in his mind.
Don't like the lantern suits that much.
Oh really? I thought that they were the worst part that they showed.
Oh, that's just it. Did no bueno.
They removed the green from the Green Lantern.
Yeah, I saw a meme that it was like, "Oh, we're just gonna call it lanterns." We just hated the green. Felt too childish.
The head writer was in
that
an interview.
Who it said?
Yeah, he's the one who straight up said like he's like green. We got rid of the green because like it was cringe or something.
No, it's just the characters. Like,
and everyone who is a Green Lantern fan would know. In Green Lantern, it's not just called Green Lantern for the sake of saying a color. It's called Green Lantern because it's a spectrum of colors that is really important because there's multiple colors.
Exactly. Like you're taking part of the core like lore away.
And after certain writing, one of the most important things within the encompassing DC is in fact the spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because originally it was the Speed Force that kind of
tied everything together.
But then turns out there's something even around that.
Then there's the whole emotional spectrum which ties everything else together. And it's just like some of the most crucial, impactful stories in the last, like, I'd say 15, 20 years of comics is originated from Lantern stories. So it just, A, looked bad. B, this is a real nitpick, but obviously people are like, oh, Hal Jordan's flying without the green aura. Obviously that's kind of a comic book thing, but also just, I don't know. When I think of Green Lanterns, I don't think of it dark and gritty as Gotham.
Right.
And
not every hero has to be
and
Batman.
And I feel like watching this Lantern teaser is what it gave me. If it was Lanterns, like, going to Gotham. Like, it just felt, there was no, like, Hal Jordan is comedic in the comics.
My thing was, it was very teasery. We don't really get a lot in terms of lanterning.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of leeway to see improvements because it is just a teaser.
Yeah.
It could be bait. A lot of the bad stuff could be bait. Could be rage bait for people to watch and be like, oh, okay, I'm surprised because they actually did an okay job. Fingers crossed. But based on it, it is not looking promising.
No, it just, again, to me, it just gives it's too, like, if this came out in the Snyder universe, I'd be like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think with you, look how bright Superman is. And I'm like, oh, the Green Lantern stuff's going to be just as bright. Complete opposite.
Yeah, it's not brightest
Like
day,
it
baby.
looks darker than Peacemaker, and Peacemaker's more of a darker, serious tone show.
Yeah, that's fair.
But,
I mean, he's training. There's a training going on. I'm surprised we didn't see a single construct.
That's what I'm saying.
But it was a teaser, so
like still tease the construct. But I don't know, whatevs. Another teaser trailer, full trailer. Spider-Man Noir.
yeah.
It's gonna be on Prime.
I don't know if excited is the right term, but I'm definitely intrigued. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking it out with pretty much zero expectation, which might make it a lot better than it deserves.
Nick Cage, detective, black and white show. We see some fun characters in the Spider-Man lore in the 1930s feel.
Yep.
Again, I don't have high expectations, but I'm intrigued, and I will be checking it out. I do enjoy that you can watch it black and white, or you can watch it in color. I'll probably watch it black and white.
Yeah,
but I'll see how it feels in the first couple episodes, and I'm like,
you watched the Wolf in black and white, right?
Yep.
Whatever that Marvel thing was. We also had a passing within the anime, I guess, / gaming, which was that Hideki Hata, who was the founder and longtime president of Kyoto Animation, guiding the studio from 1985 into one of the most respected names in anime. Kyoto Animation has done stuff like Inuyasha, Air, Full Metal Panic, Clanad, Lucky Star, K-On!, Beyond the Boundary. The list goes on and on. Violet Evergarden, Silent Voice. So many amazing anime. I'm sure for a lot of you, you've definitely heard the studio name before. So rest in peace. And thanks for bringing one of the best studios to life. And I believe that's pretty much it. The end of JJK's sequel, Jujutsu Kaisen Modula, is wrapping up. I will be now that it's done.
Same.
I've heard both good and bad things, so we'll see. I'll be the judge.
I'll be the judge. I think it's only about 25 chapters, so nice, simple.
Yeah. Check it out. I don't think it was ever meant to be long, if I remember correctly. So I'm excited to give it a read. Just had a lot on the go,
Preach. Speaking of which,
let's jump into one of our newest segments after this other new segment, which is the Misfit Roundtable. Maybe we add some music or something. We'll find something that works for the news and the roundtable. We definitely need a news one.
Yep.
Add
it to the board.
But yeah, so jumping into the Misfit Roundtable, we will not be covering D&D because this episode was talking about D&D.
Obviously.
Let's go on to maybe some of our reads and recommendations for reading.
Take it away, Connor.
So it's been a lot on the go. Just like anime, I have too many things on the go at once when it comes to now books, causing myself some stress. But I have read the first 2 books of Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Crazy.
Is that crazy?
Well, it's just wild because you read them really, I don't know.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Really fun series. I like to call it a cool down series. When you're reading a maybe a little bit more in-depth fantasy.
Yep.
Or a classic fantasy. Sometimes it can get a little dry or there's a lot to pay attention to. And after you're done reading, you're like, oh, okay, I need something different. Oh, this is different. So definitely a good, kind of cool down books. And there's a lot of them. So,
yes.
You can have them for a while. I'm on book 3 of the Inheritance Cycle. So.
The green?
Yeah, the green. So be ripping through that. I've also recently got an e-reader so that I can have a bunch of books on the go. And my current series that I'll be reading on that is the Dragon Riders of Pern. So, looking forward to that. Iconic fantasy series.
23 plus books.
Yeah, it's not short. I've also picked up the Wheel of Time because I just don't have enough big series on the go.
Let's go 0 to 100 real quick.
So I picked up a couple of those because they were on sale, and I was like, you know what? It supposedly has a really crazy magic system. There's a lot going on. It does sound like my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Just I'm not in any hurry to read them. I also still have Summer of Red Rising to finish, but recently we did hear that the initial summer release for Red God is no longer the case.
Yep.
So I still have plenty of time. So
I've been seeing the memes of that compared to
might be
Sarah J. Maas.
maybe pushing that down
Yeah.
a little bit longer as I rip through some of the other stuff I have ongoing. And then as far as like manga goes, basically non-existent. I've been a bad boy when it comes to reading manga. Just a lot of regular reading, just not in the manga phase, you know?
That's totally fair.
I do have a fat stack of manga I do need to read.
Yep.
As well as a few chapters of One Piece I'm behind. First time I've been behind in One Piece chapters in a while.
That's crazy.
I think I'm 3 chapters behind.
Never thought I'd see the day where I am caught up to One Piece and you were not.
Yeah, so I'm 3 chapters behind on that. There's also a few newer series that I've been wanting to read that I just kind of been letting gain chapters.
Yep.
But I definitely want to read. One of them has an anime coming out next season. Yeah, so I kind of want to read a good chunk of it before. Yeah. But yeah, I've not been on the manga grind.
Totally fair.
And I haven't finished Vinland Saga, which I believe ended. See, I don't even remember if it ended, but I'm pretty sure it's over. Oops. So there's just a few things I do need to catch up on.
Yep.
And or finish. But you know how it is. Sometimes you're in one thing and then all of a sudden next month it could be all manga that I've read.
Exactly.
So we'll get there when we get there.
When you get there.
What about you, Matt?
Not much. Obviously outside of the podcast, I recently moved into a solo apartment again, and obviously having to pack up all of my 1,000+ books, graphic novels, manga,
Too many books.
Having to unpack them all. So I've barely read anything. I picked up a book for the first time last night in like weeks. So I have finished the prologue of Mistborn.
Yep.
But if I jump to my Goodreads, I'm reading Convergence, which is a Star Wars High Republic book, which I unpacked this morning of the recording. I'm like halfway through it, so I'm going to read through that. I got one of the Disney Twisted Tales books still going on, which is Nightmare Before Christmas. Got a couple poetry books on the go. Nothing too crazy. Hoping that March I'll be able to catch up on lots of things now that I'm kind of getting settled in my place, which obviously leads me into anime. I've been just trying to catch up on all the seasonals, really.
Which is fair. There's a lot of shows that I'm sure interest you. So
there's 3 that I haven't even touched yet.
That you want to watch?
That I want to watch. Obviously, Hell's Paradise, Fate Strange Fake, and Sentenced to be a Hero. I'm like, those 3 I need to just get, but I'm caught up on JJK, Freerun, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Kamen Rider. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can finally get there, you know?
Yeah. Check out also last week's episode if you want some of our favorites from the season, as well as what to look forward to for next season.
Exactly.
That's just last week's episode.
Yeah. I've finished season 1 of Reborn as a Vending Machine. Now I Wander the Dungeon.
Happy for you, I guess.
Thanks. I don't know. Then I rewatched all of One Piece season 1.
Oh,
the live action. Yeah. Because by the time this comes out, like we said, season 2 will be out. So I wanted to rewatch it.
I have watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is the newest spin-off of Game of Thrones. It was very well done.
Go ahead, continue.
No complaints. Very good show. I wonder if it's because no one had as much expectations, but yeah, it was just really well done. Been watching Boys Meets World as my just random show going on in the background. No brain show.
Yep.
On season 5. So I don't know when I messaged you when I started watching, but I'm on season 5 now. So that's I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's the start of season 5 is when Sean's brother shows up, half brother shows up. And that's for when I was growing up, that's like a lot of what I remember of Boy Meets World is like that cast with Eric in college. Obviously I have seen from start to finish multiple times, but that's just like what I remember growing up watching was like kind of those later seasons. Season 5, 6, 7, I believe there's 7 seasons. Yeah. Been enjoying that. Some stuff has aged poorly.
Facts.
But also some of it is also very real.
Yeah.
It hits pretty hard. I would say other than maybe some of the stuff that doesn't age well in terms of the inclusivity and stuff.
Yeah, the language.
There's some stuff, a lot of like gay jokes. But overall, I would say if you were to edit some of that stuff slightly, it's a very good show.
Yeah.
Man, Mr. Feeney's the GOAT. I think that actor also celebrated his 99th birthday recently.
He did. He was also on the most recent season as a cameo for Dancing with the Stars, because Topanga was on the most recent season.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, and she like dedicated her dance to him, and he like came on and was like part of like the set of her dance.
Awesome.
It's pretty fun.
And yeah, and then as for anime, you'll have to watch last week's episode.
Yeah.
On to writing updates. I'll give my updates first, Matthew.
Yes.
So, I have the prologue done, not edited. It's way too long. I feel like I've mentioned this before on the podcast. It's way too long for what we are aiming for in the story. I've kind of looked up like a ratio, and I'm way past what it needs to be. So it does need to be trimmed.
Yep.
I haven't worked on too much of it as of late because once I took on the DM role, it has been just my favorite part of writing a story, which is creating the world and not having to worry about the plots and the characters because, well, in Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of the stuff is built up by my apologies. A lot of the stuff is built up by your players.
Yeah.
So I get to do all the fun parts I love, which is creating this world and creating like the big bads and the little people that work under them and all the little things that are going on in the shadows and up front.
Yep.
And since I just like dragons, I made it a very dragon heavy story, which was fun. And I both haven't seen, but then also I think about Critical Role. The first campaign has the chromatic thing going on, but I've never seen that part of Critical Role.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really fun to set up, but it's also taking me away from the book. So I have a lot of catching up to do.
Yes.
But I will say, just based on when writing the prologue, I almost pretty much wrote that all in one working session.
Yeah.
And it makes me very confident for once I need to do kind of what you've done, where you've kind of laid out your basic storyboard and the way you want your chapters to lay out and how many chapters roughly your story might be. I need to do that. And I feel like once I have that kind of organization of what should be happening in what section, I can really just crank through a lot of the chapters that way. But yeah, I definitely, once we start playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's going to be a lot easier because then I don't need to really think as much as what I need to prepare because you guys will basically be like, okay, this is where we're going. And I'll be like, all right, I have to prepare where there's going. It's a much more linear in terms of like, I know where we're headed instead of this first session where I'm like, I have no idea what they want to do. So once the first session's done, I'll be cranking out because we said the end of April.
Yeah, don't remind me.
So, not as much time as I would like.
Same.
But I'm going to do my best. How about you, Matt? What's your update?
I named some characters. And then I did kind of what I talked to you about off camera, but the way I used to write short stories, novellas, and stuff is I'd always write out a 1 to 10 in like the story.
Yep.
Like story points 1 to 10, and then I would break those points down further to make that list like closest to 20 as I could. Because obviously some of those points can't really be broken down any further.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting it down to 19. That's including the prologue. So
Very
basically 19 chapters. And then I did a little description of what's going to happen in each chapter. And then I broke each chapter down to like 5 points or so to be like, these are the 5 things I have to hit. And in doing so, I was able to actually grab a couple chapters and push them together. So then I kind of got it down to like 16 or so chapters.
Very nice.
And I was also struggling because you read different articles. Some articles will say novellas 40,000. Some will say 60,000. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to aim for 40 and settle for 45. Like,
I think mine is aim for 40 and know it's going to be closer to 60.
Fair. Yeah.
And our goal is to have the rough draft and then sharing and kind of using each other as beta readers and first readers. And then it goes into the editing process, which I feel like will cut out a lot.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
So.
But it's going pretty good so far. I guess I haven't fully written a chapter, but I know what's happening in each chapter. So I really just have to connect the dots, figure out a straight narrative. The prologue will be easy to write for me personally, just because it's like wrapping up a small little adventure and then we're jumping right into the main story.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting.
Yeah, my prologue is just basically a way of setting up the main character and kind of where their mental state is at the start of the story. That's kind of like the purpose of my prologue. But shall we jump into our question corner? Matt was nice enough to reach out to Zach and let him know what we will be discussing. So we had some questions ready for this specific topic we discussed, which was Dungeons and Dragons. So take it away, Matt.
I'll ask you this first because obviously you've done D&D before. But what are some of your favorite classes or races and why?
Favorite classes and races. Well, I don't want to be that guy, but I do enjoy min-maxing, so I often try and pick something that makes more sense for a certain class. So,
okay.
But nowadays, depending on what you play, we'll be playing the 2014 edition of 5e.
Yep.
Which is when race does affect stat bonuses and stuff. So I would usually, depending on what I'm playing, I would pick a race that makes more sense for it. But it also is also fun to pick the opposite and make it work. But I am obviously prone to elves. I think elves are always, when you're playing a fantasy setting, they're always fun. Live long time, magical creatures. I also am a really big fan of pretty much any of the spellcasters.
Okay.
It's a toss up between rogue and spellcaster because rogues both can be ranged, but also, they're very edgy. And if you know me, then you know I'm a big anime fan, big shonen fan, and you know what? There's a lot of cool, edgy, ninja, sneaky, roguelike characters. But yeah, I would say I'm a big fan of magic users. I've played a wizard, I've played a sorc, I've played a warlock. I think they all have different fun elements to them as I guess I should say more like battle spell casters, not like healers or anything. But they all have different elements that I like. I really enjoy the connection to like a god or a patron for a warlock. But I do feel like from just a pure DPS POV, like it's hard to beat a wizard. They're just crazy. It's also fun to write the backstories for all of them.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't have like a set thing I like. It's whatever the backstory I end up creating and I become attached to, and I'm like, okay,
what can I make out of it?
What can I do? How can I have this character achieve their goals?
Right.
Because that's some of the most fun I've had as a player is writing the backstories of some of my characters. Unfortunately, have not gotten to play through some of them completely, which has been unfortunate. But a fun fact about our first big campaign we had with me and my friends was I started off as a warlock who then went into being a sorcerer, and his backstory was I don't have it written here, but it was along the lines of he wants to separate from his patron,
right,
and turns out that his family has a deep sorcerer line within them, and he has that magic within him already. He doesn't need the patron for magic. So I didn't get to really play out that character the way I wanted to, and I switched over to a wizard. And it was not a full party wipeout because my wizard ended up living. It just couldn't res them. And the fun part was we ended up our second round of characters we did in the future.
Right.
And I had our DM allowed me to create the backstory of those two characters that lived. So I got to almost complete their stories. Didn't get to play it out, which is obviously not as much fun, but it was cool to create their family trees and how they still connected to the world we knew from the first campaign we played. And he made a lot of references to the original group and the character I played, who ended up becoming like a headmaster of one of the biggest magic schools in that world, which was really cool. So it's more just like the character, getting to play your character and having fun with them.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not a big on like the melee tank. I definitely like being more of like a DPS.
Yeah, that's fair. Next question we already kind of answered, which is like, what's your experience with RPGs leading into this? Obviously, you've played D&D a couple times now.
Yeah, I've run a one shot of my own. I've played multiple one shots with my friends. And we've done, I guess I would say I've played 4 campaign characters.
Okay.
Close to that.
Nice. And then you've obviously only done 5e.
Yep. That is correct. Plan is to potentially join Matt I know that he's planning a one shot of one of his different RPGs, so probably join in on one of those. For the longest time, we've also talked about potentially running some sort of One Piece homebrew, so we'll see what we use for that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't also be surprised if just a proper One Piece one comes out.
I could see it coming out eventually.
Especially with how popular like the card game became and how popular it's becoming with the live actions.
Yeah.
I can definitely see just a really hopefully a really well thought out one.
Yeah.
But how about you for some of your stuff, Matt? Obviously you've only just created a character for your first time, but you've played in one shots. Are you excited to be hitting up that D20?
Oh yeah. I mean, I miss just like obviously we're doing D&D Beyond, so I still will miss the full fix of being in person.
Yeah, there's definitely there's like give and take, right? Like there's definitely something you miss about it, but it's also convenient. You can do it in your pajamas.
Exactly, and no one needs to know. So I'm excited for that regard to just be able to play again and get that itch of rolling a D20, other than world building. As much as I love world building. Yeah,
you have to actually play your own guy.
Yeah.
Have influence on the story outside of just being like, I know everything. You get to be surprised.
Yeah, exactly, which I'm excited for. And then obviously, favorite RPG system just has to go to Power Rangers. I mean, that's the one I'm most familiar with. I played 39 sessions of it.
Yep.
Created some cool characters and stories there. But yeah, the hope future for maybe some Friday episodes on the podcast or the straight up different Nerdy Misfit gaming channel, the board game content channel, where we're going to be testing out different RPG systems that I own, that other people own. I mean, I own like 5 or 6 different ones myself. Yep. Tim owns a couple different ones. Gray owns a couple different ones, So, yeah. Regardless, stay tuned for that in the hopeful future.
Yeah, that is true. What's your favorite memory as a player or a DM?
Ooh. I mean, I'm a forever DM, really. I mean, I will say the first time ever playing D&D was fun with you, me, and Eric as
it was fun,
the triplets.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was really fun. I loved Eric being like, oh, but the land shark, and like really playing into that. As a GM, probably one of my introducing time travel, because I love good time travel and multiverse story. But probably one of my favorite sessions we did was just a training one where we literally did like capture the flag.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like a training module kind of thing in like a danger room from X-Men almost. But what I did is we had 6 players at the table and we did 2 teams of 3. We set up a bunch, like we had a battle map in person. We set up a bunch of obstacles so everyone knew what the map looked like. And we literally sent 3 players into a separate room to like make a task of like how they're going to fight and like how they're going to get to the other side and back. So it was literally like a full on like game of capture the flag through their characters, real for just a basic initiative.
Nice.
Kind of thing. It was a lot of fun. And then we've done like tournament arcs too, where we had the Power Rangers and they fought different like one-off characters. Like there was somebody fought Blue Eyes White Dragon. There was He-Man. There was
all right, very cool.
Play-Doh, etc. But how about you? What are some of your favorite RPG moments?
For DM, we were playing this one shot that I got off the internet, and it was just like kind of like your very generic king hires group to go to this place and find this item. Had puzzles within that dungeon, if you will. It wasn't a dungeon, it was like a castle or something.
Yeah.
And you have to get in, you fight off some things, there's a puzzle, you have to do the puzzle, you fight the big bad, you get the item, you bring it to the king. Like it's just a very simple one shot.
Yeah.
And my players couldn't get through the first door, like the door to get into the castle. Everyone failed the check multiple times, and basically had to create a new situation for them to get into it. And I basically made it so that like a little higher up there was like broken, because it's like an abandoned castle, so the wall was broken down a bit, so you could like maybe lift someone in there and they could unlock the door. The one person who got lifted in and could unlock the door, before doing so, there's a ambush set up.
Of course.
For when you open the door. And he's the only one in now. And unfortunate crit rolls downed him.
Big yikes.
So it was a bloody mess to get in. Needless to say, and perhaps maybe gave a few extra health potions if certain rolls were made. Just due to how much health was lost at the front door. But yeah, it just goes to show you, the dice can be cruel.
Yeah. I mean, when I was doing one of my Power Rangers sessions, we had 3 characters. They came up to this like cave and there was like 11 doors. They went in one door, popped them out one other. It was like just a basic door puzzle. And I had it where they had to say a certain word and that made the 12th door appear. And the word was bat. And there was bats flying around the entire area. And someone turned to me and was like, oh, like they rolled. I was like, told them what to see. And they're like, oh, so I got to see a bunch of bats. I was like, yeah. Do you say that out loud to your other players? He's like, no. I was like, okay. 25 minutes later, they're still in this room until one of them was like, wait, was that a bat? And I was like, thank gosh someone said it. And I was like, then the 12th door. And then it was a running gag ever since anytime they were in a puzzle, someone would just yell bat to see what would happen. But yeah.
Very nice. Zach, thank you for the questions.
Yeah, Zach, much appreciated. You can catch Zach out on an episode where we talked all about TCGs.
That's true.
That was a fun-filled episode. Always good. And remember to, if you're not a subscribe, click subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. So that would be nice and dandy if you did. And yeah, stay tuned for more D&D updates throughout the next podcast episodes, here and so forth. Stay tuned for more anime content. Next week is Anime of the Month.
Pluto.
And yeah, just stay tuned for a bunch of other stuff. Let us know. Comment below some of your favorite D&D experiences. And if you're not already in the Discord, jump on the Discord, ask us some questions so we can have some questions for future episodes.
Absolutely. Let's go.
And until then, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing and commenting. And we'll see you here every Wednesday and Mondays for Marvel Mondays.
Heck yeah.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you. And see you next week.